Credits set.
Let's go.
Hello.
How's it going, Najir?
Oh, Butch.
Butch, and you are
The executive producer.
executive producer. All right, we're ready to go. All right, Najir Chambers here with Butch, the executive producer of the new Green Lantern animated film that's going to be premiering tonight at San Diego Comic-Con 2022. How you taking it in?
Well, I've been through this rodeo before, but yeah, it's fun. I know these guys. Yeah. Ooh, it's great. But yeah, it's great.
It's a big deal. Look, we're back at Comic-Con. We had like a 2-year layoff and whatnot. All the fans are very excited. You're closing out Friday night with a world premiere.
It took me 4 hours to get this. It's not how it used to be.
You're right about that. Could you talk about some of the messages you want fans to get from out of this film? There's with John Stewart, which is one of the beloved characters in the DC comics, and just that responsibility of that character. Could you just talk to me a little bit about some of the messages that you want fans to take from out of that?
Well, the real message as far as this film is the futility of war. So it's more based upon, the Vietnam War, Apocalypse Now. So we went on that path, and John Stewart is ex-Afghanistan Marine, and he's a sniper, and he's suffering from PTSD. So we wanted to kind of go that way to show what happens to people as far as their conflicts, their beliefs, their attitudes towards war. So that's kind of where a lot of this goes.
Was there any additional research needed to handle such a very delicate subject in PTSD and trauma?
Because it's right there up front, when we first meet him back in Detroit, we can only, do little bits and pieces of that, like how he interacts with the public and how he doesn't fit once he's back in society. So that's a big part of the story. Plus, now he's shot off into space somewhere else he doesn't fit. So he's kind of conflicted with everything because he's trying to get back to being who he was before the war, but now he's thrown right back into it.
Okay. This animation style is one of my favorite. It's absolutely beautiful. Could you talk about what did you all kind of put into this that makes this feel very unique from all the other different projects?
Yeah, when James Tucker finished his version of these movies, I was told I have to do something completely different. So I went for more of a comic book, originally French style, but it didn't kind of phase into that. So I wanted it to look more full and lush. And also, I like my backgrounds to be hand-drawn. I don't like what people have been doing with SketchUp design. It just looks dull and flat. So I got my artist to go back to hand-drawing these backgrounds so I can get thick and thin line in there too, So it has a little bit more weight to it.
All right. Anything you want to say to the fans that's getting ready for tonight's world premiere?
Well, I think you'll enjoy the film, and it's got some controversies in it that some older fans might not appreciate, but that's part of storytelling. You got to get conflict in there. I hope you enjoy it.
Thank you so much, Butch. You have a good one, buddy. Yeah, take care.
Lies.
How you doing?
Good, you?
Good. So before we get this cleared up, everybody sits down.
What?
Name and position on the Green Lantern.
What's that?
Yeah, your name and position with the Green Lantern movie.
Oh, I'm Butch Lukic. I'm the executive producer.
Executive producer.
Yes. So what was the process? How did this movie come about? Like when we're going to do a John Stewart movie?
Yeah, so me and Jim Krieg, we had to pitch to DC and Jim Lee what we're going to do with this universe and what characters are going to be coming in. So step by step, we had to, give him a pitch on each storyline. And, it was always in our minds that we'd do John Stewart, because 6 years ago when I was doing Justice League Action, I was asked from fans, well, when are you going to bring in John Stewart? I said, next year. And then our show got canceled, so that never happened. So at this point, I figured, all right, well, we're doing the DTVs, I can put him in there now. And originally we were going to just do John Stewart and Green Arrow traveling across the U.S. in a convertible. The Neil Adams, Denny O'Neil stories. But then I realized I couldn't do it because of the cost of doing all those backgrounds for each state, or even if we went to 10 states, it still would have been a lot of work, and there was no way to approach it. Plus, driving in a convertible in animation, you have to animate the characters with the vehicle, it's tough. So I decided, screw it, we're going to space, So these guys came up with the storyline as far as how and what's going to happen up there. And, again, based more on Apocalypse Now as far as how we get towards the ultimate, the end of the road for this movie.
Still in the process of putting together this world that you're building?
Yeah, we had to map it out all in the beginning, so we do have an idea. Things have changed, things have varied as we went along, just like I said what the original storyline was going to be for this, but we have a path that we have to go to, but how we get there can be moved around and changed.
I feel like Hal Jordan's always been the highlight of like the Green Lantern universe.
Right.
Will this movie determine that John Stewart is the better Green Lantern here, or we just get an unknown?
Not better, but the incidents in the story will tell you what's going on. I guess I can't say anything because no one's seen it yet, but no, I mean, Hal Jordan starts out as, this is the greatest Green Lantern that you have to live up to. So, and obviously John Stewart's like, what? You want me to live up to that? Because he just got the win. So that's kind of the basis of the start of the story.
Why was it important to get this story out with John Stewart?
Well, one, it's we're building our Justice League up, so I felt each film should kind of introduce someone and give them, for fans that aren't versed on the characters, give them. This isn't his original origin, but it's an origin that we created, so it works for where we're going with things.
Will you go back and give their stories? Or are you focusing on maybe having some active characters and then building new ones with their stories?
Yeah, I mean, all the characters we can't give them their full story, but they are going to be in the next films, I think we have a little bit more Vixen than what she was involved in this cameo. And Green Arrow, obviously, him and John Stewart, this is their film. With Hawkgirl, I guess, too. But as we carry on, whatever we pick up for other members, we're doing in the next films.
Was there any limit, on how many other, auxiliary characters or co-star characters that were brought in?
Yeah, I mean, there's always a limit because of the amount of money we're allowed to do voice acting. So there's always a limit. I can throw in 30 Lantern Corps into the scenes, but I can't give them voice. They're just going to be fighting, doing things like that, but they won't have any dialogue or anything like that. So that's kind of the problem with working on these budgeted movies. You have to kind of do trickery to get other characters in. They can be background characters, but up front characters, they have to have dialogue. So
Was there anything after seeing the final product you wish you could have said, man, I really wanted to put this in there, but it didn't make it? Like, go get the deleted scenes and that the Blu-ray? Or?
Well, yeah, I mean, the film was longer than what we finalized, but that was all in the animatic board stage. We had a longer film, but we were like 10 minutes over. So there's certain things that we had to cut out, and there was just no choice. I had to move the whole first 5 minutes into the second act and create it as a flashback only. So it was condensed from a 5-minute sequence down to probably a minute and a half. So there was quite a bit of juggling around.
But you were still able to print sequence.
Yeah, because what we do is I'll squeeze down the footage count or the timing on the animatic to where there's no animation, so I'll go down to 0, and then when we get it back, we blow it back up and add more footage and length and pauses and things like that. Or I do some creative retakes where I add a longer. I make the scene longer by adding some animation, but they're very strict as far as when we ship stuff. It has to be at this footage count. But there's ways around it. So originally we sent probably 78 minutes worth, but we blew it up to about 87 minutes long. So but that's kind of the process of how we have to do things. If we go over budget, we went over budget on a previous movie, and then that eats into the next movie. So there's a cutoff point.
And you would think with the way that it's distributed, you would have a bigger budget because this is going directly to Blu-ray and digital.
I know, but they've always said that they break even. I don't know. What am I going to say to that? But overall, I think since HBO Max has come in, these are doing a little bit better because of the exposure. They're more accessible. So we'll see. I did get a larger budget, more than James did, because I told him, look, if I'm taking over, you can't be giving me a budget that James has been working on for 7 years. You got to give me more money. But they gave it to us, but it's still not enough, as usual.
I would assume that hiring Hawkman was like 90% of the budget.
Yeah, look, when we got Elvis, this was pre-everything. He was still, lesser known. Now he's kind of exploded, sure, but we got him about 2.5 years ago. So the only thing I saw him in was The Invisible Man and the TV show he did. But before, now he's exploding. That's great for us, and he loves it. He loves these characters. He's an artist himself. He went to our art center.
What can you tell us about the relationship between Green Arrow and John? Do they get along at first? Because you mentioned the road trip.
Yeah. No, we wanted it to be the odd couple, so that was the intention. And we stuck with that as far as this version. So they don't like each other, and they're at odds throughout the whole film until finally something snaps and, they become buddies. But I think that type of storyline would, but it was originally intended as a buddy film, but obviously yin and yang. All right.
I'm going to give you
Thanks, guys. Sure. Yeah, thanks.
5 minutes.
Nice to meet you guys.
Make him wavy.
Hey.